Good afternoon, folks. Grubner101 here for Zero Talent Gaming. Alright, I'm going to go through a couple of things about game settings and how you can apply these settings to optimize some of your gameplay. First of all, we're going to go into the options screen. Alright, and we are going to go to the video. As you can see, I have all of my video settings set to low or off. Everything except the anisotropic filter, which is at 16x. Basically, is what anisotropic filter does. If you can read it, set the level of anisotropic texture filtering to increase the sharpness and detail of textures. Basically, at a little bit further range, when you have everything set a little bit lower, it allows you to kind of see the enemy players a little better, more defined, and you can see the movement a little bit sharper. As you can also see, I do have my full screen resolution at 1280 by 720 at 60 Hertz. Now, if you have a 120 Hertz monitor, go ahead and throw it at 120 Hertz. I only have a 60 Hertz monitor at the moment, so I obviously run at 60 Hertz. 60 Hertz is what that means, if anybody doesn't know. That is the maximum amount of number of frames that your monitor will flash in a given second. Now, if you look at the upper right hand of my screen, my numbers are going really quick with my D3, D11. It shows it's at about 190 something frames a second. Now that's what my video cards are trying to render at, but they will never do that fully because of the 60 Hertz stuff. So it gives you frames to play around with if you want to stream, record, or do videos. And this is me at these frames recording. I also have my brightness. That is like personal preference level on that. Visual Sync, you can turn that on and off. Basically is what that does. It locks the frames to what your monitor can do. It doesn't really matter if you have it on and off, unless somebody knows better than I do, but I keep mine off. My field of view is at 90. I prefer that because it just seems to work a little bit better for me. Motion blur is off. Color blind support I prefer to have on. Next thing we're going to go to is audio. Now, if you notice right now, my master volume is set a little bit lower. It's not all the way up, but I prefer to have it all the way up, especially during gameplay. I have it down low right now just for recording purposes, so you can actually hear what I'm saying. The speaker system, I prefer War Tapes. It gives you a better rendition, especially if you're using a digital surround sound headset like I'm using. Allows you to hear the footsteps a little bit more clear and can actually orientate which direction they are coming from. Stereo mode is on. In English, well, unless that only gives you that. And let's go to gameplay. These are all, weapon zoom. You can, I have it to where I have to hold my right mouse button to zoom in, and then I on-click it to zoom out for aim down sight. Steady scope is a hold button. Again, I have that set to like whatever key binding you want to set it at. Now, network smoothing factor. This is a thing of controversy, but I can actually link in a video later of another video that somebody has made about this, but basically I keep mine all the way off. When it's all the way white, it's all the way down, and it's all the way off. Basically is what that does. It is a visual smoothing of network data such as players and objects. Lowering will reduce latency, but would increase visual errors. Now, is what that means, it helps mitigate, not necessarily get rid of, but it helps with, like, say you ever run around a corner and then you were getting shot at, then you made it behind the corner, and then you died. Well, that's client-side hit detection. Now, this doesn't get rid of it, those kind of deaths, but it helps slow them down. So you're like just past the corner, or you're like right there. It helps it a little bit, not necessarily always, but it also does help with your peeking on other players and other players peeking on you. Basically, where you see the players where they actually are a good 50% of the time. It helps a lot. Some players, I know some guys who are really good players and they have it, set halfway, or they'll have it set here or a little bit lower. I just prefer to keep mine all the way off. Next, we'll go to controls. Now, everything is normal. My mouse sensitivity is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 clicks over. Basically, what you do is you lower it all the way white, and then you use your arrow keys and go over to the right the number of percent you want. So I'm at like 6%. I know players who have it a lot lower. Basically with this, I have to go roughly about 8 inches or so on my mouse pad to do a complete 360 in the game. I like it set a little bit low. Vehicle mouse sensitivity, well, that's however you want the vehicle sensitivity. I keep that a little bit higher. I do like to fly every now and then. I'm not really a vehicle person myself, but a little bit helps. It's all about preference on stuff like that. Raw mouse input, you need to have that on. Raw mouse input is basically using the raw Windows settings. So you have to go into your Windows settings or your Linux settings or your Mac settings or whatever OS you are actually using, and make sure you have hardware acceleration off. And basically the sensitivity you use on your desktop will help be the input style for the game. It helps a lot because it helps reduce hardware lag, because the game would be trying to do its own sensitivity stuff, and then your Windows is trying to do something else, and then your computer's like, okay, it's trying to do all this stuff. So if you have it set to on, where it just uses the raw mouse input, then you change your sensitivity for game, it's basically going to help mitigate some of those hardware lag issues you'll be having. Joystick, well, this game has really cruddy joystick stuff, so I don't even use joystick. I use keyboard and mouse. So that is basically it for Windows and gameplay settings, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and have a good day.